In Unit 6, we're going to look at using rewards in the classroom as a way of managing your learners' behavior. Now, the whole idea behind rewards is that it is meant to motivate learners. Think about it. Your salary is considered a reward. Now, let's say that you could earn a bonus every month if you completed all your work. Admit it, you would be more motivated to complete your work. Now, there are two types of motivation: extrinsic and intrinsic. Let's quickly take a look at these. So extrinsic motivation is when you are motivated by something externally, such as a bonus, or for learners it could be a sticker or a marble in a jar. Completing work or behaving appropriately is motivated through these tangible rewards. The other side of the coin is intrinsic motivation. Here, this motivation comes from within. Internally, learners work hard and enjoy the sense of accomplishment of completing a challenging task. Or for the praise, a well done by the teacher means more to them than a tangible sticker. A teacher once told me that she loved to hand out stickers to reward her learners when they chose positive behaviors. And her learners responded well to them. She could see the joy on their face each time she handed one out. She would hand one out to the whole class if they were respectful and quiet in the hallway, or if she noticed a learner completing their work cooperatively, or even if she just noticed a learner sharing. One day, the teacher ran out of stickers and told the class that she would get some more next week. And what happened next, she did not expect. The class were devastated. They didn't want to work if they didn't have a sticker to work for. One mother even called the teacher that night to tell her that her daughter was completely inconsolable because she did not receive a sticker today. And this was a huge warning sign that she had a problem in her classroom. Her learners were motivated to work for the sticker, not for the enjoyment of learning itself. Now, there are two schools of thought when it comes to rewards. One is pro giving learners tangible rewards to motivate them, and the other is to develop intrinsic motivation in the learners. So let's take a look at the possible reasons why the teacher in our previous story ran into some issues with handing out stickers. Have you ever heard of the snowball effect? The snowball starts small, and as it rolls down the snowy slope, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The same goes for rewards. In the beginning, the teacher rewards the learner to reinforce a good or desired behavior. The problem comes in that the learners become used to and dependent on them, and then they need more and more and more to get the same effect, which leads to addiction. Learners become completely dependent on these stickers. Many learners will not even work unless they receive a sticker as a reward. So, to try and put this in a different example, if you tried a curry for the first time, you would try a mild version and think that it is very hot. But the more curry you eat, the more used to it you get. So the next time you'll get a spicier curry and then a very spicy curry because you get used to it, so you crave more and more. So in the beginning, handing out the stickers really helped the teacher. She got the desired behaviors from the learners, but in the long run, it worked against her goal as a teacher, which should be to develop learners' intrinsic motivation. The next element that we're going to look at is manipulation and bribes. At the end of the day, dangling that sticker or reward in front of the learner to get them to work or behave in a certain way is a bribe, and it's a way to manipulate these learners to do what you want them to do. Think about it. If your partner came home with flowers for you, for absolutely no reason at all, just to show that they loved you and they appreciated you, you would have such a positive feeling. Yet, if your partner came home with flowers because they knew you were upset with them, then it's a form of manipulation to try and get you to forgive them or to not be angry with them anymore. And nobody likes to be manipulated. Not even children. But everyone appreciates a gesture of love and appreciation. So now let's swap the flowers out for stickers. If you're going to use stickers in your classroom, then you need to use them to show love and appreciation to the learners, and this will encourage the behavior that you would like to see. It will internally motivate them. While if you use them to dangle a reward at the end and say, if you finish your work, you get a sticker. If you line up quietly, you get a sticker. All you're doing is manipulating their behavior. The next element we're going to look at is extrinsic motivation or rewards tend to produce finishes. When it comes to working in class, there's always a finish line, whether it is to complete an assignment or a project or to go through the whole day with good behavior. And that is usually when you're rewarded at the end. The medal, the trophy is handed out at the end of the race when you have completed, and the same seems to happen in the classroom. Think about it. With any activity, if they hand out participation certificates or medals, it's usually done at the end. No one stops you halfway through an activity and says, here's your medal for participating. Rewards are usually given at the end, and this is what helps to produce finishes. When you're marking your learners' work, it's at the end, and then you give them a sticker, and this mentality produces finishes. And these are the learners who just work to complete their work, to finish it. But they haven't necessarily understood the work that they have done. They're just so quick to hand it in and say, I've done it, and to get their sticker. Very seldom do we reward during an activity or even at the beginning. Think back to when you learned a second additional language at school or a first additional language at school. You went through learning a language every grade as you progressed through school. Can you actually speak the language? So this is an example of you've completed something, you've finished it, but you haven't actually understood what you've done, but you've still managed to complete. So what we land up doing is we reward completion opposed to rewarding understanding. Therefore, learners are more interested in finishing their work than actually understanding it. And this is a huge problem. Learners become way more focused on the reward than actually understanding the work or why to choose actions that would help them in the future. So then we go on to the flip side. So we've seen the negatives of using rewards, or if you're going to use them, what to keep in mind when you are handing them out in your classroom. If you decide to motivate learners without using rewards and stickers, how do you go about doing that? Well, if you need to motivate learners, you have to decide to teach without rewards. It focuses on how to recognize positive behaviors, and then you need to act. Now, the A stands for appreciate. Remember our example with the partner coming home with the flowers. If it is to show you that they appreciate you, then that is great. But if they want you to be less upset with them, then it's manipulation. And the difference between the two is that appreciation does not have some end goal for the learner. It is merely an expression of genuine emotion. While manipulation, on the other hand, such as if you do this, you will get that, is a form of bribery and manipulation. Learners do need validation that they are working well and being noticed doing this without a price tag attached to it, such as cleaning up without being asked to do so or motivated by a reward. When we reward learners for certain behaviors, our intention is to encourage them to do it again. While with appreciation, the difference is it does not form part of a system, it's from the heart. So learners will do these activities around or tasks around the classroom or behave in a certain way without being manipulated to do so. Now C stands for challenge. I remember playing a game of table tennis against my older brother. He usually beats me hands down, but this one time I won. And that feeling of, wow, I did it, and sense of accomplishment has never left me, and I will never forget it. I didn't ace a test or win a prize or competition. It was just a silly game with my brother. Yet the feeling I got stuck with me and made me believe that it was possible to beat him again. And it motivated me to try each time that I played against him. So providing learners with appropriate challenges is a great way to motivate them. Providing them with these opportunities to master these challenges will generate an amazing sense of accomplishment and spark their desire to try and do more. The key to this is to find the right level of challenge for each learner. If you give them something too easy, they won't gain anything from it because the task will be done pretty quickly and it won't even be memorable. It will just be another run-of-the-mill task. If the task is too difficult, the learners will just get frustrated. Now, the teacher has attached a reward to the challenge. Then learners will naturally choose the easiest challenge in order to receive the reward. But yet, if there's no reward dangled at the end, learners will personally challenge themselves to see how much they can do. If they answered a difficult question or can they do another one a little bit more difficult? And that sense of accomplishment builds their self-confidence and motivates them to learn and understand more. Lastly, the T stands for together. We've spoken a lot about creating relationships with your learners to assist with dealing with discipline issues. It is also a major factor for developing learners who are intrinsically motivated. Think back to when you were at school. The teacher who you wanted to work hard for were the teachers that you had a connection or a relationship with. You felt like they genuinely were interested in you, that they cared for you and your well-being, and you could talk to them about all sorts of issues. But most importantly, they showed appreciation for your hard work. Think about it. There's certain teachers that you felt warm and welcome inside their classroom, comfortable to speak to them. Those are the teachers that you would give your best work to because they made you feel like you were part of something bigger. You weren't just another student in the class. They were excited to see you. They wanted to grow you and develop you, and that helped you want to produce good work for them and produces that internal or intrinsic motivation. Many teachers will still use rewards or tangible rewards in their classroom, and that's okay. You just got to be aware of how you're using them and the result. So here are a few questions that you can look at and answer to help you reflect on your system, your reward system that you use in your classroom. So firstly, you need to look at what is your choice of reward. What have you decided is worth the learners working hard for? Is it stickers, stickers, marbles, free time? It doesn't matter what it is. Did you decide on it? Did the learners decide on it? It needs to be something that learners feel it's worth working for. What are you rewarding? This is very important. Do not create a class of finishers. Instead, have perhaps a bonus question at the end of the lesson, and whoever answers it correctly can get a sticker. But this question should test the learner's understanding, not whether they completed the activity, but how well they understood the work that they were working on. Or give stickers halfway through an assignment if you see someone working diligently or showing appropriate behavior that you would like to reinforce and appreciate them for it. So just be mindful and aware of only handing stickers or your rewards out once the learner has finished work. The next element to look at or question is how often do you hand out these rewards? For rewards to work, learners need to feel that they are worth working hard for. So if you hand them out all the time, left, right, and center, they might lose their effect as learners feel like, well, if I don't get a sticker for this, I can stand neatly in a row and line up and I'll get a sticker for that. They need to feel that they are really rare and precious, and when they do receive that reward, it's such a positive feeling because they can't just get them for doing anything right or just handing in work. Remember, do not turn your reward system into a form of bribery to get learners to do what you want them to do. That is very, very important. The next question is, do my learners expect rewards? If your class has begun to expect rewards all the time, you might have a bit of a problem, and you might need to adjust the way that you hand out these rewards. And lastly, are my rewards creating the desired outcome? Decide what type of learner you want to grow and develop. And remember, as learners get older, tangible rewards fade away. You don't often hear of a high school teacher handing out stickers to a class. But when these rewards fade away, what motivation is left with the learners? What do they have to fall back on? If they are not intrinsically motivated from within, what is motivating them? So before we end this unit, I want to leave you with two sayings, both by Dr. Richard Kerwin. The first one says, you need to care more about their learning than your teaching. So often we're so centered on how we teach and what we are doing, and once the lesson's done, we're so chuffed with our lesson and how we've prepared it and it was executed, but we haven't really focused on the learning. What is happening on the other side of the table? How much has that learner taken in? Have they understood it? Did they like the style of the lesson? You should really care more about your learning in the classroom than your teaching. And lastly, you need to remember that I teach for them. They don't learn for me.